Shalom, welcome to another video, and as always, before I get started, I want to give all praise, all honor, and all glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash, and next double honors to the head apostles / elder bishops of the great millstone who teach and who rule well. Peace, blessings, and safety to all you sincere Akim. Keep pushing, keep believing, and keep the faith, regardless of whether people hear or whether they forbear. Alright, so this is going to be a lesson on remaining faithful during martyrdom, okay? Because it's a topic that a lot of people, they don't want to think about, they don't want to talk about, but it is a very real possibility, okay, that those who are in this faith, in this truth, may end up being martyrs. Okay, it's written in the scriptures that some will be beheaded for the gospel's sake. Okay, so just as a faith booster, I have different examples out of the scriptures, okay, where certain men and women were martyrs, and the Lord guided them through, all the way. Okay, He was with them in that time. All right, and also just an example of, that very noble act, all right, of being a martyr for this truth. Okay, which really it's a high honor, really. Okay, but you got to be in a spiritual mindset to understand that and to think that way. So, the first example I want to use, and this is not written of in the scriptures, but it's in secular history, which to me was very profound because when you read it, it reminded me immediately of the story of Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, all right, the three holy children. All right, but so this is of a guy named Polycarp. All right, he was an Israelite, one of the saints, and he was martyred, all right, because he refused to renounce Yahushai. Okay, and some of the details of his martyrdom were, very, like I said, you could say inspirational. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and do a quick brief reading on that, and then we'll go to the scriptures and get some examples of noble men that were martyrs for this truth, in the Bible. Okay, so we're going to jump right into it. Yahweh righteous out me, the Heavenly Father's will is edifying to the elect. All right, so this is Polycarp. Okay, and he was a saint. All right, he was a bishop of the Church of Philadelphia, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, excuse me, the Church at Smyrna. Okay, matter of fact, let me go ahead and fact check that. Okay, one sec. Yeah, let me go ahead and fact check right quick. Yeah, his name was Polycarp. Yeah, Bishop of Smyrna. Okay. All right, so he's a bishop of the Church of Smyrna. But it says, according to tradition, Polycarp, a bishop of Smyrna, was set on fire and martyred by being burned at the stake because he refused to renounce his faith. When the fire didn't fully consume him, he was stabbed to death by the executioners. Okay, so essentially, he was set on fire. Okay, but the fire it wouldn't do anything to him. Okay, and that is like a miracle. All right, the fire it wouldn't burn him, it wouldn't consume him, and that's a miracle. So then I guess the Roman centurion ended up just stabbing him in the heart, and it said that his blood poured down and put the fire out. Okay, and he died that way. But I mean, you gotta be a very strong-minded individual, really have the Spirit of the Lord on you to accept that punishment, and to remain faithful all the way through. All right, so once again, he would not deny Yahushai, so he was set on fire, but miraculously the fire would not burn him. Okay, so actually it says that right here, details of the event. Accounts describe Polycarp being tied to a stake and set ablaze, with the fire miraculously forming a circle around him, not burning his body. Okay, so the Lord was with him right then and there at that moment. Okay, and you have to think of that. Okay, when if you end up being one of those men that's a martyr for this truth, at most 30 seconds of pain, for a eternity of glory. Okay, that's how you have to think about it. All right, so let's get some more accounts of that in the scriptures. All right, you had other men that were martyrs as well. Let's go to Acts chapter 7, and I'm going to read verses 51 through 60. This is the account of the stoning of Stephen. All right, Acts chapter 7 and verse 51. Okay, it says, "Ye stiff-necked and uncircumcised in heart and ears, Ye do always resist the Holy Spirit, as your fathers did, so did ye. All right, he's calling out, the wicked of the Jews. All right, it says, which of the prophets have not your fathers persecuted, and they have slain them which show before the coming of the just one, of whom ye have seen, of whom you have been now the betrayers and murderers. Okay, because they killed you, they killed Yahushua, they got him killed. All right, it says, who have received the law by the disposition of angels and have not kept it. When they heard these things, they were cut to the heart, and they gnashed on him with their teeth. So he was calling them out, he was rebuking them, and they were cut. All right, just like when we rebuke the world now. Okay, we're sent up there as a testimony against the Gentiles. All right, he says, but he, being full of the Holy Spirit, looked up steadfastly into heaven, and saw the glory of the Most High, and Yahushua standing on the right hand of Yahweh, and said, behold, I see the heavens open, and the Son of Man standing on the right hand of Yahweh. Then they cried out with a loud voice, and stopped their ears, and ran upon him with one accord, and cast him out of the city, and stoned him. And the witnesses laid down their clothes at a young man's feet, whose name was Saul. Okay, and Saul later became Apostle Paul. And they stoned Stephen, calling upon the Most High, and saying, Yahushua, receive my spirit. And he kneeled down and cried with a loud voice, Lord, lay not this sin to their charge. And when he had said this, he fell asleep. Okay, so they stoned him to death. All right, for he was a martyr for the truth. Okay, for calling out the wicked of our people. All right, and when they were stoning him, the whole time his eyes were focused on Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. Okay, it says that he saw them. The clouds opened up, and he saw them, in the heavens. All right, and that's all he could think about. Okay, so once again, an example of a man that remained faithful all the way to the end. Okay, and we all hope to have that same portion of the Spirit, if that is our lot. Okay, now nobody wants to be deleted, but once again, it's not something that is, it's not something that is out of the question to happen. Okay, so this is Second Maccabees, the 6th chapter, during the time of the Greeks. All right, you had Ptolemy and other Greek generals that were trying to force the Israelites to follow their customs. Okay, we're gonna read about it right here. Second Maccabees chapter 6, and I'm gonna start at verse 1. I'm just gonna skip around for sake of time. It says, now long after this, the king sent an old man of Athens to compel the Jews to depart from the laws of their fathers, and not to live after the laws of the Most High. It says, and to pollute also the temple in Jerusalem, and to call it the temple of Jupiter Olympius, and that in Gerizim of Jupiter the defender of strangers, as they did desire that dwelt in the place. Okay, and Jupiter today is white Jesus. All right, and I've done lessons on that, linking. Started off with Nimrod, and then moved on to Osiris, and then Osiris and Apis. These are Egyptian gods, were merged together with Zeus to make Serapis Christus. Okay, and then Serapis Christus, or Zeus, and that was the Greek. And then in the Roman Empire, it became Jupiter. All right, which the Greek and the Roman were kind of the same people. But the Greco-Roman Empire, it went from Zeus to Jupiter. And then after that, in 325 AD, you had Emperor Constantine. Okay, he was a Nimrod sun god worshiper, and he knew the origins of Serapis Christus, and he made Serapis Christus, or Isus Christos, become the face of so-called Christianity. And then today, in the English, they call him Jesus Christ. Okay, so Jupiter and Jesus Christ is the same. All right, it says, the coming in of this mischief was sore and grievous to the people. All right, and I'm gonna skip down. Okay, it says, verse 5, 2 Maccabees 6 and 5, the altar also was filled with profane things, which the law forbiddeth. Neither was it lawful for a man to keep Sabbath days or ancient feasts, to profess himself to be a Jew. And in the day of the king's birth, every month they were brought by bitter constraint to eat of the sacrifices. When the fast of Bacchus was kept, the Jews were compelled to go into procession to Bacchus carrying ivy. Okay, and Bacchus is another false god. Bacchus is where you get the term bachelor from. Okay, the god of wine, orgies, and reveling. All right, that's where you get the term bachelor from. That's why when you go to college, it's almost like when you go to the university, it's almost like a ritual. When you get your bachelor's degree, that when you're a freshman, you party, wild drinking parties, orgies, women getting ran through. All right, this is what it all goes back to. And then As you see, it says carrying ivy. That's where you get the term Ivy League from. Okay, when in Ivy League school, ivy was like the plant of Bacchus that represented that wine and revelry and orgies. Okay, so when you go to an Ivy League school, okay, that's like a high level honor in a degree of Bacchus. Okay, so this is where that custom comes from. It goes back to ancient Greece. Okay, which is the reason why, they pledge with fraternities and sororities in the Greek. Okay, so all this goes back. This is all Esau. This is all part of his deception. Okay, but anyways, verse 8. Moreover, there went out a decree to the neighboring cities of the heathen by the suggestion of Ptolemy against the Jews that they should observe the same fashions and be partakers of their sacrifices, and whosoever would not conform themselves to the manners of the Gentiles should be put to death. Then might a man have seen the present misery. For there were 2 women brought and who had circumcised their children, which circumcision was going back to the law. All right, excuse me. Who when they had openly led round about the city, the babes handling at their breasts, they cast them down headlong from the wall. And others had run together into caves nearby to keep the Sabbath day secretly, being discovered by Philip, were all burnt together because they made a conscience to help themselves for the honor of the most sacred day. Okay, so you have women, 2 women were brought, and their children they circumcised were thrown, head first over a wall. Okay, obviously that killed the babes. Okay, so this is the kind of stuff that he was doing. He was doing the same stuff, in the Roman Empire and in the modern day Roman Empire, which is America, Babylon the Great, NATO and the EU. Okay, in America, the daughter of Babylon, our people were our babies were being used as alligator bait. They were cutting, skinning our people and using our skin to make furniture, couches, and stuff like that. All right, and coats. All right, they were cutting off the sacks of our rods, our genitals, and they were making coin purses and all kind of stuff, man. Okay, this is Esau for you. All right, and I'm gonna skip down. 2 Maccabees 6. Okay, and verse I'm gonna get verse 18. I'm gonna read on down. It says, "It's another story of martyrdom. Eleazar, one of the principal scribes, an aged man and of a well-favored countenance, was constrained to open his mouth and to eat swine's flesh. But he, choosing rather to die gloriously than to live stained with such an abomination, spit it forth and came of his own accord to the torment." Okay, and that's like I said, a lot of us can be faced with that, man. Okay, brothers have had dreams about it. Esau, got you in an interrogation room, telling you to denounce the Lord, and who knows what kind of things they're going to threaten you with. All right. As it behooved them to come that are resolute to stand out against such things as are not lawful for love of life to be tasted. For they had the charge of that wicked feast, for the old acquaintance they had with the man taking him aside, so old friends of his that were, down with the Greekish fashion, besought him to bring flesh of his own provision, such as was lawful for him to use, and make as if he did eat of the flesh taken from the sacrifice commanded by the king. Okay, so they gave him a way out. They said, okay, this is what's going to happen. All right, bring your own meat, and that's lawful to eat, and pretend like you're going to eat what the king has given you. So they gave him a way out. It says that in doing so, he might be delivered from death, and for the old friendship with them find favor. But he began to consider discreetly, and has become his age, and the excellency of his ancient years, and the honor of his gray head, whereon was come, and his most honest education from a child, or rather the holy law made and given by God. Therefore he answered accordingly, and willed them straight ways to send him to the grave. So he said he thought about it, and he said, what? I'd rather die honorable than to bow down to this Greek, Edomite. It says, "For it becometh not of our age," said he, "in any wise to dissemble, whereby many young persons might think that Eleazar, being 80 years old and 90 years old, were now gone to a strange religion. And so they, through mine hypocrisy, and desire to live a little time and a moment longer, should be deceived by me, and I get a stain to my old age, and make it abominable. It says, for though for the present time I should be delivered from the punishment of men, yet should I not escape the hand of the Almighty, neither alive nor dead." Wow. So he said, I I don't want to be a bad example to the younger brothers and the younger men that are watching me. I would rather die honorably. It says, wherefore, now, manfully changing this life, I will show myself such an one as mine age requireth, and leave a notable example as such as be too young to die willingly and courageously for the honorable and holy laws. And when he had said these words, immediately he went to the torment. Okay, so this is a 90-year-old man willing to die painfully in his old age than to forsake the holy law given. Okay, and you got these ninjas today that you can't get them to put the pork down. They said they're gonna do what they want to do. Okay, they said bump the law of the Heavenly Father. They're gonna do what they want to do. All right. It says that they that led him changing the good will they bear him a little before into hatred, because the foresaid speeches proceeded as they thought from a desperate mind. But when he was ready to die with stripes, he groaned and said, it is manifest unto the Lord that hath the holy knowledge, that whereas I might have been delivered from death, I now endure sore pains in body by being beaten, but in soul am well content to suffer these things, because I fear him. And thus this man died, leaving his death for an example of a noble courage and a memorial of virtue, not only unto young men, but unto all his nation, which is us. Okay, and we got to take on that same mindset. See? All right, and the last story of martyrdom I'm going to get is in Daniel 3. All right. Okay, and I'm gonna skip around in this chapter as well. I encourage you to read these things, because it's good for edification. But this is Daniel 3. All right, I'm gonna start at verse 10. Okay, it says, "Thou, O king, hast made a decree that every man that should hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and dulcimer, and all kinds of music, shall fall down and worship the golden image. And whoso shall not fall down and worship, that he should be cast into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. There are certain Jews whom thou hast set over the affairs of the province of Babylon." Okay, this is talking about the three holy children, Daniel's friends. All right, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. "These men, O king, have not regarded thee. They serve not thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up." Then Nebuchadnezzar, in his rage and fury, Nebuchadnezzar was the king of Babylon, in his fury commanded to bring Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Then they brought these men before the king. All right, and pretty much I'm just going to tell you, they said, he said, "Are you not going to bow down?" And they told him, and they said, "No, we're not bowing down to your false gods." Okay, the golden image. And I'm going to skip down. Okay, it says, verse 19, "Then was Nebuchadnezzar full of fury, and the form of his vices was changed against Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Therefore he spake and commanded that they should heat the furnace 7 times more than it was wont to be heated. And he commanded the most mighty men that were in his army to bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and to cast them into the burning fiery furnace. And these men were bound in their coats, their hosen, and their hats, and their other garments, and were cast into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Therefore, because the king's commandment was urgent, that the furnace exceeding hot, the flame of the fire slew those men that took up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And these 3 men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, fell down, bound into the midst of the burning fiery furnace." So they were thrown into there. All right, let's see what happens. "Then Nebuchadnezzar the king was astonished, and rose up in haste, and spake, and said unto his counselors, Did we not cast 3 men bound into the midst of the fire? They answered and said unto the king, True, O king. He answered and said, Lo, meaning, look, I see 4 men loose, walking in the midst of the fire, and they have no hurt. And the form of the fourth is like the Son of the Most High. Then Nebuchadnezzar came near to the mouth of the burning fiery furnace, and spake and said, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, ye servants of the Most High God, come forth and come hither. Then Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came forth of the midst of the fire, and the princes, governors, and captains, and the king's counselors, being gathered together, saw these men, upon whose bodies the fire had no power, nor was an hair of their heads singed, neither were their coats changed, nor the smell of fire had passed on them. Okay, so Yahushua was in there with them, and he literally protected them through the fiery furnace. Okay, right, and even if you're a martyr, which we're going to get later on, okay, the Lord's Spirit will be with you. He did promise to us, I'll be with you even unto the ends of the earth. Okay, he did promise that, Matthew 28. But let's go here now to Sirach 2 and 10. Okay, these are all examples, of the Lord. being with his people. Okay, we're going to need that same type of faith in the days we're coming into. This is Sirach chapter 2 and verse 10. It says, look at the generations of old and see, did ever any trust in the Lord and was confounded? Or did any abide in his fear and was forsaken? Or whom did he ever despise that called upon him? All right, see that? Psalms 22, okay, verse 4 and 5. Our fathers trusted in thee, they trusted, and thou didst deliver them. They cried unto thee and were delivered. They trusted in thee and were not confounded. Okay, so even if they were martyrs for the truth, all right, the Lord, he was with them the whole time, man. Okay, like I said, he promised he'd be with us, all right, even into the end. Psalms 34. All right, I'm gonna let's see, Psalms 34, and I'm gonna read. I'm start at verse 3. It says, matter of fact, I'm gonna start from the top. Psalms 34 and 1. I will bless the Lord at all times. His praise shall continually be in my mouth. My soul shall make her boast in the Lord, and the humble shall hear thereof and be glad. O magnify the Lord with me. Let us exalt his name together. I sought the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, and he heard me and delivered me from all my fears. They looked unto him and were lightened, and their faces were not ashamed. All right, think about Stephen. Okay, they looked unto him. He saw Yahweh and Yahushai up there in the heavens, man. All right, and his face was lightened. This poor man cried, and the Lord heard him and saved him out of all his troubles. The angel of the Lord encampeth round about them that fear him and delivereth them. O taste and see that the Lord is good. Blessed is the man that trusteth in him. Okay, see that? And even if you do end up, being a martyr for the truth. Okay, once again, we don't know how the Lord's going to do it, but it tells us in the scriptures. Like I said, we're going to close out with that Wisdom of Solomon, the 3rd chapter, that even though they seem to be punished in the sight of men, they are in peace. Okay, their souls are in the hand of the Lord. So Lord, he may pull your spirit back, right before you're about to get chopped or whatever's going to happen to you, so that you don't even feel nothing. Okay, I remember Elder Hawad, GMS North Carolina. He had a testimony. He had a dream where he said he was in an interrogation room with Esau, and he said that they were holding him down, and trying to get him to denounce Yahushai. And the guy took a sword or an axe, pulled out his arm and chopped his arm off. But he said he didn't feel nothing. All right, the whole time, his mind was just focused on the Lord. He didn't even feel nothing at that time, man. Okay, and you got to trust that the Lord, he's gonna be with us even in that time, if that's what it comes down to. Like I said, nobody wants to, be a martyr, but you got to prepare your spirit for that. Psalms 116 and 15, it says, precious in the sight of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai is the death of his saints. Okay, and those that are martyrs, they're going to be the ones that rise up first. All right, they're going to be the ones that have the highest honor and glory, in the kingdom. All right, Job chapter 13 and verse 15. Okay, it says, though he slay me, yet will I trust in him, but I will maintain mine own ways before him. We're going to maintain righteousness, Yahweh Rajazah, all the way into the end. Okay, and once again, that just comes with faith, and fearing the Lord more than you fear these Edomites, man. All right, Wisdom of Solomon chapter 3. I'm gonna close out with this. All right, this is a major faith booster. Okay, it says, but the souls of the righteous are in the hand of the Most High, and there shall no torment touch them. Now, we can't tell you exactly what that's going to look like. We can't tell you, but, we imagine that, right before you're getting ready to be a martyr, the Spirit of the Lord, comes over you to continue and push all the way through. And then right before, whatever happens to you, you get chopped down, set on fire, whatever it is, okay, the Spirit of the Lord is going to be with you all the way through. Okay, you're not even going to feel nothing. Maybe he'll pull your spirit back. Or if you do feel something, it'll just be, 10 seconds, 30 seconds of pain, and the Lord, his spirit gonna be right there with you the whole time, man. Okay. It says, in the sight of the unwise, they seem to die, and their departure is taken for misery, and they're going from us to be utter destruction. But they are in peace, and you got to believe in that. You got to trust that. For though they be punished in the sight of men, yet is their hope full of immortality. And having been a little chastised, they shall be greatly rewarded. For the Most High proved them and found them worthy for himself. As gold in the furnace hath he tried them, and received them as a burnt offering. And in the time of their visitation, they shall run to and fro like sparks among the stubble. They're going to raise up with spiritual power. They shall judge the nations and have dominion over the people, and their Lord shall reign forever. They that put their trust in him shall understand the truth, and such as be faithful in love shall abide with him. For grace and mercy is to his saints, and he hath care for his elect. See that? All right, that's heat right there. Okay, so the Lord, he has care for his saints, man, for his elect. Okay, all we got to do is run, finish our race. Okay, regardless of what that looks like. Just pray to Yahweh Bashem Yahushua for strength in this time. Pray. All right, keep your medicine strong. Okay, but I'm gonna close out with that. All right, Yahweh watches out. This was edifying and strengthening to the spirit. Okay, and as always, I'm gonna give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai Bahashem Rakakodash, and double honors to the head apostles / elder bishops of the great millstone who teach and who rule well, and who taught me this truth. Peace, blessings, and safety to all you sincere Akim. Keep pushing, keep believing, and keep the faith, regardless of whether people hear or whether they forbear. All right, and until next time, Shalom and Abide Babal.